Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, SCV.
It's a clean sweep. Catherine Barger for supervisor. Los Angeles deputy sheriffs trust Catherine Barger for her commitment to frontline law enforcement. Barger worked to implement Megan's Law to protect our children. She'll fight to find the resources to reduce chronic staffing shortages in the Sheriff's Department to protect our neighborhoods. Los Angeles County firefighters, they support Barger, calling her tough as nails. And the California Republican Party endorsed Barger and her economic plan to create jobs in our region. No wonder local mayors Jim Ledford, Rex Paris, and Bob Keller are standing with Mike Antonovich by endorsing Barger for supervisor. Catherine Barger, trusted, one of us. Catherine Barger for supervisor.
Paid for by Association for Los Angeles Deputy Sheriff State PAC. This advertisement was not authorized or paid for by a candidate for this office or a committee controlled by a candidate for this office.
There are fun kids events at the Church on the Way Santa Clarita. 2 to 5-year-olds meet at the Arc Room on Fridays for toddler exercise time. New moms come to the Church on the Way Santa Clarita on Tuesdays for a new, free Moms Fellowship. Support, friendship, and social events for moms and their babies. Visit tcotwsc.org for these and other exciting events at the Church on the Way Santa Clarita on Cinema Drive or call 291-6000.
SCVI makes me believe that I can be free and creative.
SCVI makes me believe that I can achieve anything in my life.
SCVI makes me believe that I can be a leader and achieve great things.
SCVI makes me believe that I can truly be the greatest inventor in history.
SCVI makes me believe that I can make change in the world.
SCVI makes me believe that I can do whatever I want and have the power to make it come true.
SCVI makes me believe that I can be the greatest ballerina there ever was.
SCVI makes me believe that I can strive for my passion.
SCVI makes me believe I could do anything I put my mind to.
Free to think. Inspired to lead. SCVI, bringing your dreams and passions to life. For more information, please visit ileadschools.org.
The big one is back. Circus Vargas, Circus Vargas, Circus Vargas. The biggest big top keeps back in town.
Circus Vargas presents their amazing new production, Illuminous, under the big top at Westfield Town Center, opening November 2nd through November 7th. Always the finest in live entertainment. It's fun for the entire family. See death-defying acrobats, daredevils, comedians, and much, much more. Arrive early and join the interactive pre-show fun where your kids can be the circus stars. Get your tickets now by calling 877-GOT-FUN-1 or visit us online at circusvargas.com. For the ultimate entertainment extravaganza, don't miss Illuminous at Circus Vargas.
The big one is back. Circus Vargas, Circus Vargas, Circus Vargas.
Santa Clarita's hometown station, hometown station. AM 1220, KHTS.
Welcome back to My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Today we were talking about receiving feedback from your kids. We're talking about a specific letter that was written by a young lady, and we're going to go ahead and read it again just so you guys know what we're talking about. This is a letter to her mom, by the way. It says, "My promise to my children. I will hit you and push you out of my own anger as a child and adult. I will steal your birthday and Christmas money from you and your brother to support my addictions. I will let you drink until you are drunk at the age of 9 without your father knowing and be there by your side, unconscious. I will raise you to believe that your father doesn't love you or your brother, but that the men I sleep with care. I will make false accusations about you and your father abusing me to explain my own adolescence, to comfort my mind without any responsibility. I will take everything I know you love away from you however I can, whatever it takes. I will endlessly lie, cheat, and make selfish choices knowing that it will hurt you and the family. I will never apologize for the things that I've done because I'm your parent and I can do what I want, even if that means choosing drugs over you. I will be proud of you, but I will not be proud of you, but rather jealous of your accomplishments, knowing that I was unable to fulfill my own due to my insecurities and inhibition to live my life happily, and I will blame you for all of it. I will ensure that I am a bad mother and force you to look to other women in your life for clarity and comfort through your endless growth. When you're an adult and I am gone, I only hope that you might then forgive me without an apology. I have not done my job properly. I have killed your soul, and our relationship does not and will never exist in this life.
Now, here's the thing about parenting. If and when your kids decide to work on themselves and better themselves and to, really develop their own emotional intelligence and become more conscious in their life, if and when they do that, they will become more conscious than you. And they will see things that you can't see a little bit more clear. And then they might write a letter like this to you that says, wow, now looking back, this is what I realize. This is what I see. It's like I see all the games that you've played. I can see now looking back in hindsight, I can see all of your insecurities. I can see where you played small. I can see where you were the victim. I can see where you blamed me for everything. I can see that you took your anger out on me. And I can see all that. Where earlier when I was unconscious as a child, I couldn't see that. So this is a very powerful letter, I think. There's a process where you go from being a victim into taking responsibility, and she's still in that process. And I believe that as she gets a lot of this stuff out and she's able to complete her past, there's going to be a moment where she just really is able to get off this and move forward with her life and forgive her mom. And I think there's a whole powerful place where she transcends into this powerful, amazing woman. But nonetheless, this is still part of her process. And, as you were reading it, I just kept thinking to myself, how many other kids out there that don't know how to articulate themselves like this because they haven't woken up fully. They haven't awakened yet and really got clarity about what really happened in their childhood.
Yeah, one of the things I was saying in the beginning of the show was that I see kids finally admit something for the first time, especially in the training rooms, and it's really emotional. But I also can see, I can't. What had I said about? I saw boys, like teenage boys, crying that my mom, my parents do this or my mom does that, and it's like it's the first time they've ever said it out loud or ever admitted it. So especially to write it down and articulate it and give it to your parents, that takes a lot of courage and that takes a lot of strength.
Well, this goes to show you that there's a lot more healing that still unfolds after your own transformational training, after your own, powerful breakthroughs, and that there's still stuff that lingers. There's people in their 40s and 50s that have done therapy for 10, 15 years, 20 years, and they're still healing and letting stuff go. They're still finding little pockets of areas where they need to forgive their mom or their dad for the things that they've done, and the growth never stops. It's always going to be unfolding as long as you have the courage to keep looking at it and keep digging down deep and finding those things. So let's move on. At the first phase of this show, we broke down a few parts of this letter. Now I want to get back to the second part of the letter. In this specific section where she says, I will never apologize for the things that I have done because I am your parent and I can do whatever I want. So as a child, you're looking from these little eyeballs looking at your mom and dad, and you're you must be coming to your own conclusion that mom and dad rule the world. They definitely rule your world. They definitely do whatever they want without having to justify themselves. When I grew up, it was, if I ever asked why, they would just say, because I said so. That basically meant I'm the ruler and I can do whatever I want without having to explain why I do what I do. And if she grew up in a home where the mom just did what she did and didn't have to be accountable for any of it, or didn't feel like she needed to be accountable, then you grow up basically just taking the abuse, and you don't have a voice when you're that young until you're now 20 or 21 years old, deciding now that I want to speak up for myself.
I think as far as parents taking accountability, it's not just about the one parent who's doing the damage or doing, the parenting. It's about both parents realizing, hey, maybe I need to take accountable for the way that the mother of my children is treating my kids, or the way that my house is being run. So I think the blame kind of goes, I don't want to say blame, but I think everybody, all the adults have to take responsibility for how everything plays out.
Absolutely. If that was my daughter saying that to my wife, her mother, as a conscious dad and a conscious husband, I would have to look at that and say, I'm a part of that. I played a part in it. Whether I didn't step in and protect my daughter, or I didn't step in and say, hey, at nighttime when we're going to bed, if I don't look at my wife and go, hey, I didn't think the way that you did that with, little Jennifer was the right thing to do. Or, when you were talking to Tommy, that wasn't cool. Like, you need to work on that. All right. Or let me know what you need for me to help support you to help build our kids up rather than tear them down. And so, I agree. There gets to be some responsibility versions being taken around all the way around, including the daughter, including the one who wrote this. She has to really look at herself and take responsibility for, all of this. And I know it's tough because a lot of times people will say, well, Alex, how do you take responsibility when you're 2 years old, when you're 4 years old, when you don't know any better? It's just a decision you make. It's just a decision to say, I'm responsible because it happened to me. I'm going to choose the responsible version because the victim version renders me powerless, meaning I can't change it. At 20 years old, I'm choosing to be responsible for what happened because I was there. Find whatever reason to justify taking responsibility just so you can move on, so you can let it go and move forward, so you can heal from it. I'm not telling you to try to take responsibility so you give the other person the out or give your abuser a free pass to get away with it. I'm just saying, and you take responsibility and transition into the responsible version because it's more powerful. Does that make sense? Because you're looking at me stunned like it's the first time you've heard that.
No, that makes sense. I've got it.
I will not be proud of you, but rather jealous of your accomplishments, knowing that I was unable to fulfill my own due to my own insecurities and inhibition to live my life happy, and I will blame you for a lot of it. Wow, this one's powerful. This one is basically saying that she experienced her mom really not validating her in those moments that she was proud of herself. And now the more mature young adult can look back and rewind the tape and see that and go, wow, those moments when I was really proud of myself and I needed you to validate me or see me or recognize me in those moments, you couldn't do it. And then she was even able to justify why she thought that her mom couldn't do it. It was because you must have not been able to have your own validity in your own self to be able to have the context to acknowledge me or say, hey, Miha, I'm proud of you. You did an amazing job. And that's what it takes as a parent, is to work on yourself so that you work through all your own insecurities and build yourself up so that you can be that kind of parent for your kids and build them up and inspire and empower them.
Yeah. And the second part where she says, and I will blame you for all of it, I think what she's trying to say is that her mom's blaming her for all the things that she didn't do. So growing up, when her mom was a kid, she didn't get to do all those things, and somehow now it's her daughter's fault. And that part, maybe because I can't identify with it or anything, that part really breaks my heart because she's blaming her for something that happened before she even existed or before any, that's something she had nothing to do with.
Hey, I've heard of parents blaming their kids even after they were born, almost like, well, because you came into my life, now I don't have, I can't chase my dreams or whatever. And, it happens. We have unconscious parents that haven't developed themselves or worked on themselves or healed themselves or gotten themselves to a certain level where they don't, say those kinds of things to their kids and then put the burden on their kid to have them now look through these filters of seeing themselves as bad and wrong. And I'm the reason why you didn't become the actress that you wanted to be. Like I said, it happens in parenting all the time. You'll hear, kids that will share that their mom or dad made them feel, right? Because again, you got to look at, this is how you made me feel as I was growing up. You made me feel as though I am the scapegoat for you not chasing your dreams, or I'm the reason why you didn't become the person that you were striving to be as a young child. But at the end of the day, the parents are the ones that made the choice to conceive you, to have you, and made that decision, whether they liked it or not, to raise you. And that takes a lifelong commitment to raise a kid. It doesn't stop at 8. I mean, it could stop at 18. I could have kicked you guys all out and said, sorry, you're on your own now. But as long as you're alive, I'm still your dad and I'm still committed to have you in. And I think that just takes an awareness, and people have to decide that that's how they want to parent. So let's move on to the last part of it. And so there's a section here where it says, I will ensure that I am a bad mother and force you to look to other women in your life for clarity and comfort through your endless growth. This one kind of breaks my heart too, because it's kind of saying, I'm not going to be that inspirational woman that I want you to aspire to be. And so what that'll do is, if I do wake up and realize that I want more, it's going to force me to find other role models out there. It's going to force me to look and compare you to other women, whether it's the neighbor or my aunt or a teacher or someone else, and go, hey, I want to try to be like them rather than be like my mom.
Yeah. And even though this part is, for me, the heartbreaking is almost the saddest part, I really, really like that she could acknowledge that that's what she was doing, that all those years growing up as a teenager, she was looking at other women saying, oh, that's how I want my mom to be, or this is how I want to be as a woman. And we say that, we've said this before, is that if your kids aren't getting what they need or what they think they need from you, they're going to find it somewhere else. So if you feel like your kids feel like they're not getting parented by you, then they're going to go find other mentors, usually teachers or coaches or friends, parents, or whatever that looks like. They're going to go seek it somewhere else. And they usually do unconsciously.
And then there's another part that says, when you're an adult and I'm gone, I only hope that then you might forgive me even without an apology. And so what I visualize in that is, a child at the cemetery crying over the headstone and, giving the parent forgiveness, even when the parent never in their lifetime asked for forgiveness. A lot of times that happens because forgiveness is a tool to set me free. Forgiveness isn't something that you have to wait for somebody to give to you. Forgiveness could be just something that I can declare that I'm going to give to you, so that unhooks me from being the victim to you, or it frees me up from holding all the resentment towards you and the anger that I have for you. And I've said this several times. Forgiveness isn't a tool for the other person. It's a tool for myself, so that I can kind of surrender myself and let myself go.
I also think that, because you were saying that this is all part of her process, I really do think that eventually she is going to forgive her mom. And I've seen times where she forgives her mom and says, you know what, this is just how she is, and I have to accept that. And so I've seen that before. And I think I'm not sure if I can 100% say that people can just go ahead and forgive everything right then and there. I think it takes a lot of years and a lot of, knowledge, and maybe even having your own kids to say, you know what, I would want my kids to forgive me, so I need to forgive her.
I don't think it has to take several years. I believe transformation is in an instant. Like, we can in a moment just decide like this. But some of us, we linger it a little bit, and it's not good, bad, right or wrong. It just is what it is. Some people, it could take them 30 years slowly, almost like, I don't know if you remember watching the movie, Shawshank Redemption, where he's tunneling through his cell and he takes a little bit of concrete into the yard and he lets a little of it go out of his pocket. So he's letting a little bit of the wall go every day when he goes out to the yard. It's kind of like this. When you're in that process where you're forgiving, it's like one handful a day of forgiveness until you've broken down the whole wall. But that doesn't mean that in an instant you can't kick that whole wall over and just decide, I'm just over it. I'm done being a victim to you. I'm done holding on to all this resentment and guilt and all the stuff that I know is just holding me down. So I'm going to choose to forgive you so that it can set me free, so that I can now fly and take off and find my own greatness and then go create some incredible results for myself. So let's get down to the last part. Are we going to break? Let's go on a break, and then we'll come back. We'll finish this up and kind of put a conclusion to this.
Stay tuned for more of My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Today we are talking about receiving feedback from your kids, and we're going over a letter that was written by a young girl to her mother. We're going to go ahead and finish it, and then we have some more to talk about.
Yeah, if you're just checking in and just tuning in, it was a powerful segment about a letter that we had stumbled upon, that it was from a kid that is now a young adult, but has done the trainings, very, conscious and aware and really making sense of her own life and, going through her own journey of personal power. And she wrote a letter to her mom, was kind of standing up for herself, and it was very powerful. And you're kind of catching the last end of it. You might want to rewind this or go back and watch some of it. We broke it down a little bit in detail. So let's wrap this up. So at the end of the letter, she wrote, "I have not done my job properly. I have killed your soul, and our relationship does not and will not ever exist in this life." And what a powerful way to end it is kind of, a bold statement to let her mom know that, she feels like, everything that was genuine about her and her soul was tainted or was, disrupted, or that it just smothered the goodness and the authenticity about who she is. And, just because you make that statement doesn't mean that you can't go and reclaim your authenticity and find that little golden, warrior that you are and the beautiful person that exists inside. But you would have to let go of all the stuff that you remember. You have to let go of your past. You have to, redesign some of the limiting beliefs that you've created about yourself through some of that dysfunction in the family. And you have to really kind of make a conscious commitment to keep growing and developing. And I think it's a process of remembering who you really are, which is that powerful spirit that runs you, not your past and not all the fears and doubts and the insecurities that we think we are.
Yeah, and the way that she ends it when she says, our relationship does not and will never exist in this life, because she's writing this letter from her mom's perspective. So, from her mom's point of view. So I think she's kind of saying, putting it in her court, like, our relationship doesn't exist, so it's kind of on you. Like, I think that she's kind of tired. She's already tried so much to have a relationship with her mom that she's saying it doesn't exist. It will never exist. So, but because she's saying it from her mom's perspective, only her mom can change it.
Well, the relationship exists. You can't, it might not be the kind of relationship that you want, or that is, the kind of relationship that you admire or respect or enjoy. But we're always in relationship to something or someone, even if you have somebody that doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, but they're still around you and you still have to interact with them, you're still in a relationship with them. So the relationship does exist. It's just not to the place that we as human beings expect it to be. And you can only do so much. People that we want to be in relationships may not have the capacity to give us what we want or where we want it to be at. And it's just part of our journeys. If I'm on a journey of consciousness, I'm at a level 7 and you're a level 4, I can't have you be the 7, or especially overnight. Or if you're a level 3 and I'm at a 5, I can't get you up, to be at the level that I want to have it. And so we have to learn how to just have the 7-3 relationship and find the little goodies that we can out of that kind of relationship and kind of accept that and hope that through your own journey, you're going to have some powerful breakthroughs and kind of come up to the level that I can, really enjoy those kind of benefits from you growing in your own.
Before we have to leave, do you have any tips as to either how to get feedback from your kids or, getting honest feedback from your kids?
Yeah, absolutely. What it will look like is for you to sit down with your son and daughter and bring your walls down, allow yourself to be vulnerable, tell them that you want to be a better mom, you want to be a better dad. And part of that is to get honest feedback. You got to let them know and convince them that you're not going to use that feedback to manipulate them or throw back in their face. Before your kids will open up to you like they do in the training room and allow themselves to get some of that out, you really have to, on your side, show that you're committed to doing that work and that you're not just going to start this and then stop it, because they might not open up and be that vulnerable and that honest and give you that feedback. You might have to ask for it 3 or 4 or 12 or 20 different times through your vulnerability and allowing that space for them to trust you to share like that.
Thanks so much for joining us today on My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We're here every Friday from 12 to 1 p.m.